I love the feeling I get when exploring a new level of Below's gloomy, foreboding dungeon for the first time. From the enemies to the environmental art to the sound design, everything falls into place perfectly to create a spooky atmosphere of unveiling the unknown, never quite knowing what might lie down the next flight of stairs. Then I step on a cheap insta-kill spike trap, have to start over without my stuff, and likely need to spend the next 30 minutes farming lantern fuel and bat meat so I can take another crack at it. Talk about killing the mood. Almost all of my biggest frustrations with Below come back to it not seeming to be able to decide if it wants to be a moody, deliberate dungeon crawler with satisfying combat, or a punishing survival action game that never lets you relax. It's at its best when it keeps that first goal in mind, wowing me with cool subterranean vistas and enticing me with hard-to-find secret rooms full of useful rewards. But the second goal is often there to ruin the moment, and there's no stronger example of this than the freaking hunger meter, which is one of the most unnecessary ones I've ever encountered. Nothing takes me out of discovering a massive, ruined underground city, like a little red icon popping up to remind me that I can't stop to enjoy the gorgeous architecture or comb every corner meticulously for secrets. Instead, I need to forage some mushrooms quick or I risk losing everything. It's so counterproductive because even though many of these levels are procedurally generated, they're just begging to be enjoyed and mapped out at a methodical tempo. And with keeping yourself fed comes dull, repetitive busy work. Scooping up food off the ground wherever you may happen to be standing will only get you so far, and preparing for expeditions into the deeper levels of the dungeon requires farming for supplies close to the surface. Every death means not only having to repeat multiple floors of dashing and slashing, which I didn't mind too much, but repeating some of the most boring parts to get munchies. Even with unlockable shortcuts, that gets repetitive. If it weren't for all this grinding, I think I would have been much more engaged by the relentlessly punishing difficulty of the lower floors. Combat is fair, methodical, and exciting once you learn how the diverse and memorable collection of enemies behave. Some grueling gauntlets later on really got my blood pumping. But even though I enjoy getting a little better and a little further each time, knowing I'd have to do so many chores just to earn another shot if I failed diminished that sense of satisfaction next to other similar games. There's also the compounding issue of the lantern, which is needed to open many critical doors, can spot traps, and is the only defense against certain enemies. There's only one in the entire world and you drop it if you die. If you happen to die in an area full of shadow monsters, you face the prospect of a far more difficult trek to get it back. It's such a strange reverse rubber band mechanic. You weren't good enough to beat this room on your first shot, so now you have to do a version of it that's way harder. Good luck! In the background there's a story that, on the occasions you can actually take a breath and absorb it, is really well done. Without using a word of dialogue, it slowly and effectively unveils the nature and secrets of the dungeon. The animations that take you between floors are as eye-catching as they are mood-setting, and entering a new floor that looks nothing like what came before was always a cool moment. And the ending is a dramatic, unexpected twist that almost makes the 30-ish hours of pain getting there worth it. I wanted to love Below for its amazing art, stellar sound design with echoing chambers and atmospheric music, and clever, inspired environmental storytelling. But their light isn't bright enough to shine through all the darkness of the hunger, instant death, and corpse run mechanics, which actively get in the way of enjoying the world and the combat. Below simply leans too hard on roguelike and crafting elements, which forces an urgent pace that conflicts with its more admirable design ideas. For more on Below, check out 25 minutes of gameplay. And for other roguelikes, check out our early access review of Hades and our review of We Happy Few. And for everything else, stick with IGN.